Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I don't know if we get the states associated like we
So you got the phone going to the computer. Nice.
Phone's going to the internet. The computer's getting the internet. So we know that the circuit is working. We know the circuit is working.
Yeah. Looks like a full house today.
Oh.
just got my letter to that email. I don't know how I missed it. Because I went through, I did it with letters to sign. So I made sure I got one down just a little later than I usually do.
Recording in progress. Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Katie, could you read the open public meeting statement, please?
Adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Roxbury was given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act as follows. On December 31st, 2024, notice was emailed and faxed to the Daily Record, the North Star Ledger, the West Morris Reporter, and published in the Daily Record. Notice shall also remain posted throughout the year on the bulletin board in the main hallway of the municipal building.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Albrecht. Here. Councilman Carey.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Crowley.
Here.
Councilman DiFilippo.
Here.
Councilman Hall.
Here.
Councilman Riley.
Here.
Mayor Patillo.
Here. This brings us to presentations, awards, etc. This is always a great part of the night. Where's the go? There he is. Never mind. So tonight we have our certificate of appreciation for Mike Mangano, the chairman of the 2025 Memorial Day Parade Committee. Mike, you know how much you mean to the community. You know, you are our volunteer of the year this year. We thank you so much for everything that you do. This year's parade was absolutely perfect. From all the pre-planning to the execution to the barbecue added at the end, it was just simply perfect. So a big round of applause and thank you for
Mike, you make this look very easy.
Yeah.
And I know you probably, the council would just like to be able to give you 2 weeks off. When you start the plan, check every
2 weeks in.
Start
We
at
got 2 weeks off, because we gotta do the 250th, that's all we got.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, that brings us on to B, Historic Advisory Committee 2025 Preservation Awards. Morris Fishing, would you like to come up and talk a little bit about it?
Thank you, Mayor. The Roxbury Historic Advisory Committee welcomes this opportunity to recognize owners of properties with historic values who maintain their historical character, which enhances neighborhoods, inspires pride in Roxbury's pre-revolutionary history, and tells the stories of the people who built them, lived in them, and worshipped in them. Valerie, please call upon our first recipients.
Will Reverend Timothy Clarkson please come forward to accept the award for the First Presbyterian Church of the Succothana Plains?
I'd like to invite forward members of the church who are here as well. Dan, Cindy, Kathy, Deanna, Joyce, Bob, Michelle.
Mike, do I have?
That's Michelle.
Your church is commended for the authentic restoration of the porch and signage of the Isaac Stoddard Chapel. That is a mouthful. In memory of Pastor and Mrs. Stoddard's teenage daughter, who died in 1869. The chapel restoration reflects the church's consistent dedication to historic preservation. The church itself is a treasure trove of history that includes documentation of General George Washington's reliance on the church for its support during the Revolution. And if you all would like to know more about that, come over to the historic sites on Main Street, Ledford, and you'll hear more. Thank you so much for all that your church does for the community. Thank you.
Mary and Edamian Rivera, please come forward to receive your award for 111 Kings Highway and Landing.
Congratulations, Mary and Edamine. Perched on a grassy knoll surrounded by vintage perennials, the pristine, ivy-covered pink brick cottage that Mary and Edamine have taken care of for the past 35 years embodies the legacy of the prominent Bryant family, founders of Morris County. A family descendant, Doradus L. Bryant, built the cottage for his retirement near his highly acclaimed Lake Hopatcong Westmoreland Hotel, considered to be one of Lake Hopatcong's jewel of the mountain. His many successful ventures, including hotel management, apple cider distilling, good old Jersey Lightning, and mining operations in Succothana's Bryant mines, proved him worthy of his heritage. Thank you so much.
We now invite Reverend Holly Paul to come forward to receive the Port Morris United Methodist Church certificate.
When the Four Corners United Methodist Church was organized in 1875, Four Corners was the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western Railroad's hub. Miles of track and the railroad roundhouse dominating its countryside. At the turn of the 20th century, to make it more easily accessible by worshipers, imagine the 75-ton church building with a brass bell from an old locomotive in its belfry being moved intact across railroad tracks and a frozen pond which began to melt, causing the people of the church to bow their heads in prayer. And it made it, and it's still there. So is the bell. Congratulations.
Yes. We just had a pasty sale. Anyone likes pasties? We have plenty for sale.
Next, we have the Overmans accepting their award for 214 Main Street in Ledgewood.
The Overman House is cat-a-corner across the street from the Silas. Very doubtful. The Overman House stands catty-cornered across from the Silas Riggs house, which I hope most of you know about, because that is one of the oldest houses still standing in the township. At any rate, they've been good neighbors to the Saltbox house, looking after it, sometimes when there have been storms and so on. Built around 1905, the Overman home is one of many houses built on Main Street in Ledgewood by the Shear family. Now that's a name we never hear about, or we don't talk much about. We know so much of so many certain names, but tonight we're learning about some other names. The Shear family emigrated from Germany in the mid-1800s and contributed to the development of the township during the heyday of the Morris Canal. Its covered porch and upper story corner turret are characteristics that enhance Ledgewood's Main Street. So, congratulations to the Overman family.
Thank you.
Our final recipient, the Roxbury Board of Education at 42 North Hillside Avenue in Secauceta, but they will receive their certificate in the mail.
Well, I think the gray building resonates with everyone.
Turn around.
The gray building, I think we all, most of us, maybe some of us who are not from the town. How many people know what the gray building is? Okay, most of you do know that. And maybe you know its history. But it was the first school built by the 1894 Board of Education, now housing the board's administrative offices, with the first school bell mounted on the front lawn. Coalescing high school students on the second floor in 1903 marks the official establishment of Roxbury High School, with all township lower grades taught on the first floor. The iconic district schools of the 1800s were deemed obsolete, the yin and the yang. In the forefront of education, Roxbury High School accepted tuition-paying students from the surrounding neighborhoods that didn't have high schools until 1955, with only Mount Arlington students still being accepted. So I'm sorry nobody here is here to accept it, but I think we could give the Braves building a nice round of applause.
Marge. 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 It's okay. I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you do in Roxbury to preserve the history of our township. These are great awards. Thank you for recognizing all the property owners. I'm sure as council also does. I know each one of these buildings, and they're just simply stunning additions to our township, or originals of our township, rather to say. So thank you to everybody for being here and these awards. So thank you.
My pleasure to do what I do. I've loved it for a very long time and had the advantage of meeting the founders of the Historical Society, on which I've built, some people call my wealth of knowledge about the township. But it didn't just come into me. It came from other sources. It came from people who in 1961 recognized the need to save. And those two people were Annie Hoskins and Harriet Newman. And I would like to have a round of applause for them. Because they have the history books they wrote and so on. And I wish we could distribute that more widely.
Thank you, Marge. All right, we're going to move on in our agenda. Everyone is more than welcome to stay with us. But if you would like to leave,
It's not required.
it's not required to stay. But we'd love to have you if you want to. Take care, bye. Bye.
Congratulations on your building.
Bye, bye, Abigail. Now, you know. It's all right. Stop. So before we continue with our regularly scheduled program, some of you may notice we have an extra visitor on your right-hand side. Mike, would you like to
This
stand up?
is Nell. She is a college student from Rutgers, and she is interning with us. And the executive editor said, "Why don't you bring her to a meeting?" And I said, "Well, you want to go to a really pleasurable one? I'll bring her to Roxbury."
We appreciate that.
And she comes from Loudoun. Now, I complain. I'm 15 minutes up the road in Mount Olive. I complain that it takes too long to get here. It took her over an hour.
Well, now, welcome. Thank you for being here with us.
You can learn a lot from Mike, but there are other things rather you not.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to item 5, approval of minutes, May 20th and May 27th, 2025. Motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Albright. Yes. Councilman Carey.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Crowley.
Yes.
Councilman DiFilippo.
Yes.
Councilman Hall.
Yes.
Councilman Riley.
Yes.
Mayor Patillo.
Yes. All right, this brings us to our first public portion. Does anyone in the audience wish to be heard on any topic? Please come to the mic. State your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I'm going to close public. Moving on to reports of council liaison representative, council committee, and new business, old business. Councilman Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. A few things. First of all, congratulations to our council members on their primary election victory. Congratulations, guys. Hard fought battle. You're a great man.
Thanks, Councilman. You're acknowledged.
We had our annual beach blast, everybody, last week. I guess the hero of the day is folks who said go forward with this, because I gotta be honest with you, I was a little shaky there for a while, wondering whether or not we could get through this, especially when it started raining at 6 o'clock. So everything cleared out, everything went well from that point forward, and a gigantic thanks to a whole bunch of people. I think the mayor mentioned while he was speaking. I'm not gonna go through them all, but I really appreciate everybody's help, and especially Roxbury Recreation. The amount of effort that goes into this every year is stupendous. A big thanks to our sponsors, once again, who are responsible for funding I'd be a little remiss, you know, I try to mention some other people that helped us out. You know, everybody from Ashley Farms, who provided the ice, to Joe's Pizza. You know, Larry's just an absolute great guy. Every year he helps us out with each class. He deserves an awful lot of credit. So thank you to everybody, police, health, recreation, everybody that went into this. John, thank you so much. Our staff. It really went well, and the fireworks were great. Last night we had the Roxbury 5K in town. Good job by the police in organizing the people in the right direction and stopping traffic. I got a lesson sat there and watched them do it. So thank you, Chief, for all that. We had close to 500 runners last night, so it was a lot of fun. And it's nice to have this annual event. There was an event at the library that I attended. Where people speak about that. Very well done. The Try Harder Triathlon is June the 26th for those folks that want to come out and support our younger folks who are going to be doing swimming, running, and bicycling. It's a great event. It's a lot of fun. So I look forward to seeing you there. Steve, was Steve here? Oh, Steve. Thank you for fixing the defensive meeting here. That was very nice of you to handle that, and you handled it very quickly. So thank you very much for your help on that. Other than that, Mayor, I'm good to go.
Thank you. Councilwoman Oliver?
Thank you. Councilman Paul touched on the Pride event at the library on Saturday. It was very well attended, and just another good event. What I really want to focus on tonight is we have the Morris County Clerk coming to the Roxbury Senior Center on June the 25th. This is to help out with our senior IDs and our veteran IDs. So if you're a senior and you no longer drive, but you still want some form of an ID, this is the place to get it. It's $5, you bring cash, we have all kinds of information here. So I know one of my seniors, her husband can no longer drive, so she needs to give his license in so she can get him off of her car insurance. But if she gives that license in, he doesn't have any proof of ID. So that's where our senior ID comes in. You cannot fly with this. It is not a real ID, but this is for people that, if you want to get off of car insurance, you don't drive, you no longer have a driver's license, you need an ID for something, please come. It is June the 25th at the Senior Center from 10 to 2. Also that day, we are doing Morris County Veteran Identification Cards. And this is free of charge, so you don't have to pay for this. And this will give you the opportunity to get discounts all around Morris County. And there are documents that you need to provide if you want this, and they're both listed on the back of the forms. If you have any questions, we will have the forms out there. I am going to give them out to our seniors as well. And Michelle O'Halloran's email and phone number is on the form if you have any other questions. And you can also reach out to me. And lastly, I'd like to thank Michael Mangano for all of the great work he does in town. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Crowley?
Thank you, Mayor. I saw Fred about 3-4 hours before the beach blast. He was afraid to look up. And when I did go over it first, it did start to sprinkle a little bit. He still wasn't looking up, and then it was fantastic. Something happened, and the sun came out. It was a fantastic night. So good call, Fred. The next day, we had Friday at the library. Unfortunately, it was raining that day. That was held inside. I think that was good. We did have a Lake Backcon meeting this Monday night. I don't know if anyone recalls, but last year we didn't have very many weeds. We did some extra treatments for the condition. This year, we've already, in 8 days of harvesting, we've got 300 cubic yards. Normal year, we get about 700 cubic yards. So the weeds are out there. A lot of discussion amongst the 4 towns and the counties of trying to accelerate more and more weeds. Also a lot of high water. And hopefully we'll get lots of sunshine to start this summer. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilman Riley?
Not perfect, but I think Fred would They've covered just about everything, so, I reiterate that each blast wasn't last. Once again, coming towards the end of our next round for COA, so we'll have a plan in place for this issue. That's it.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman DiFilippo?
Yeah, just congrats again to Fred and everybody involved. Beachville is clearly the premier event this summer. It's just wonderful to see how many people are lining the streets. And everyone says the same thing. It's a great, great community. So congrats to everybody involved. In that, I don't know why we do an opening ceremony though, because not a single person listens to anything we say. Which just brings.
Are you suggesting we do a closing ceremony?
Well, I just think if we didn't come at all, frankly, we would waste everyone's time. So, no, it's very nice. And it's very nice for the sponsors to get their recognition. Also, the Pride Day at the library Saturday, thanks to Councilwoman Albright and Paul for being there to show their support. Happy to deliver a proclamation from the mayor that's on display at the library every month. So, June Pride and Bullies Month. It's just, again, a good comment about the community and how welcoming we are to diversity. And then finally, we had the Starry Night Gala sponsor dinner, garden party on Thursday night. These are all the people who have, over the years, provided support for the Library Foundation, which is seeking to expand the size of the library, the services it provides. Which just gives me an opportunity, frankly, to say thanks to all of them, and to tell you for the first time that the Starry Night Gala, what we're going to be, is our theme this year, will be November 12th. And there'll be a lot more information coming posted. That's it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Carey?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the 9th, the Board of Education had their meeting, and quite a few things going on, but you know, a couple of pipes burst. Had pipe burst in Eisenhower. Then there was a leak in Jefferson School. So there's a lot going on over there. They had a bunch of awards that they handed out, but I think the most important were that Dr. Santoro mentioned that we had won the 2025 National District of Character Award. We won the 2025 Best Community for Music Arts Award, as well as, the final thing was that the solar project, evidently they ran into a issue with their supplier, and as a quote, it's dead.
Okay.
And that was all I had.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Two quick things. One, congratulations to all the candidates that won last night. I know you guys had a hard fought battle.
Raise your hand.
And then the other thing, we had Route 80 update. I received a Route 80 update the other day. As you know, 2 lanes eastbound opened up a couple weeks ago. 2 lanes westbound opened up 2 weeks ago. Then we had another update. Westbound will be completely open Friday. But they're having overnight shutdowns, which is all public information. But what I really wanted to let everybody know was the timing of all the lights in Roxbury, Randolph, Morgan, Mine Hill, they've all been returned to normal on 46, 10, 15. So that has already been switched back. So we should see complete normalcy again, within another week or so. That's all I have. Amy, anything?
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Rice? Thank you. John?
Just one item, Mayor, as a reminder to council, when we go to matters referred, I'm going to add a letter C. We're going to talk a little bit about with Melanie Machete, our town engineer tonight, an issue with our Skyview bar system. So I'm going to add that to the agenda. Matter referred.
All right. moving on. Matters requested referred by council members, managers, attorney, and clerk. We have A, Parkview Road right-of-way vacation.
Mayor, I could take that. We have a request from the developer of the Parkview property to vacate some paper streets that are within the confines of their site. Attorney representing them, Brian Kieran's here tonight in the audience if he needs to make any statements or have any questions, but Councilman Riley, Councilman DiFilippo were very familiar with this application because they sat and reviewed it as part of the planning board process. So there's been a request to vacate multiple paper streets. You should have that. It's a very extensive package that Mr. Kieran presented, but in there's a map that shows you the paper streets. The initial request was received. We reviewed it with our staff, and Melanie Machete, our town engineer, recommended a few of those paper streets being maintained for access around our million-gallon water tank. So Melanie did make that recommendation. I believe the applicant has agreed to not make the request for those few streets that were identified. So the request is really for the remainder of the paper streets within that are adjacent to and near the site. And the recommendation is to move forward with those vacations. We don't see any reason to utilize those for access. It's kind of laid out as an old grid system. If you look at the map, it's an old grid system that was laid out years ago, and it's certainly not feasible to ever be built in that manner. So if there's any questions, we can certainly answer. I'm sure Mr. Kieran can answer any questions. But what happens if council's in general agreement, we'll move forward, and Tony Bugo's office will work on preparing the ordinance to vacate the streets.
I don't see any issues with it, but we're going to approve this application. I'd like to just make sure the rest of your office knows to approve those streets that we access to
Nothing additional will move forward, and the attorney's office will move forward. It'll come back to council as an ordinance. Hopefully at the next meeting we can get it moving that quickly, and it's already noted, Tony's office is already familiar with the two roads that we're going to maintain, so we'll move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to B, block party, Washington Street, Port Morris, Saturday, July 26, 2025, rain date, Sunday, July 27, 2025. Comments, concerns? No? All right, we're good with that, John. And then moving on to C, what John just previously.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Council is aware that in our Skyview water system that the services Moody Mountain area, part of Kentville, we have an issue where we have some high lead in individual homes. So we, as council knows, we sample all the three separate water systems, two of the larger, one smaller. There's three separate systems that we have, even though we operate them as one system. They're three separate systems and permitted that way. We do routine sampling for lead, copper, and things that DEP requires us to do. Recently in Skyview, we had, again, it's a representative sample, we had a few homes that tested higher than what the lead limit is. Because of that, we're required by the EPA and the DEP to send out a public notice. And I wanted Melanie to come tonight. You're already familiar with this, but for the public to hear kind of what happened and what may be the issue here. One of the things that I want to take an opportunity is this is a great opportunity for anybody, not just in Skyview, but also in the other water systems and people that have private drinking water wells, which we don't test, of course, to give them some public education on how to maybe operate their water, what to look for in their home when it comes to plumbing, because really these issues probably relate to household plumbing more than our water system. But of course, when it comes to lead, copper, or anything, it's a problem. You want to always err on the side of caution. So if council's involved, I'm going to give Melanie a few minutes just to explain what transpired, what we're doing to address the situation.
So good evening. So as John mentioned, the township is required to sample a distribution system for lead and copper in accordance with the US EPA lead and copper rule. In the most recent sampling, which occurred between March and May of this year, the water system found elevated levels of lead in some homes. During this period, the township samples collected, greater than 10% of the samples exceeded the lead action level of 15 parts per billion. The EPA rule, lead and copper rule, requires that 90% of the samples collected be less than 15. So of the samples, we were more like 80% rather than the 90% or below. The township has been in contact with the DEP regarding this matter. The township is required to complete a number of tasks, which include immediate public notification, which occurred on June 3rd, 2025, and the mailing of a public education information flyer, which was mailed today. The property owner should receive them probably by the end of this week. The township will be required to repeat the public education in the water system until the system is at or below the lead action level based on those sample taps collected. The homes which exceeded the lead action level in this most recent sampling are in the process of being resampled. So if they exceeded, we have been in contact with them to resample for confirmation to confirm their sample result. We've also collected lead and copper samples from the water sources in the Skyview water system. We have not yet received those results. Lead is unusual as a drinking water contaminant in that it seldom occurs naturally in water supplies. Lead enters the drinking water primarily as a result of corrosion or the wearing away of materials containing lead in the water distribution system and household plumbing. These materials include lead-based solder used to join copper pipes, brass, and chrome brass faucets, and in some cases, pipes such as galvanized are lined with lead. There are no known lead service lines in the township distribution systems. A homeowner may request the water department to confirm the water service materials at the meter, and that will try to confirm the material between the curb valve and the home. The homeowner, the interior of the home at the sinks will need to be confirmed by a licensed plumber. Lead can be found in plumbing fixtures in kitchen, bathroom, and outdoor faucets. Plumbing fixtures were permitted to have a small percentage of lead, most recently at 8%. In 2011, the Reduction of Lead in Drinking Water Act was signed into law. Effective in 2014, plumbing fixtures were required to have almost no lead or approximately 0.25% of lead in the areas that are in contact with water. So there's still, we all have varying homes of varying ages. Your faucets are of those that's similar ages. The limit for solder and flux is 2% for lead. Higher lead level fixtures may still be available from suppliers. As noted earlier, lead may enter the drinking water as a result of corrosion. The township monitors the water sources and distribution system for a variety of water quality parameters, including pH and alkalinity. The township will be performing increased water quality parameter monitoring of the system and will be evaluating the effectiveness of the existing water treatment. Any change to the water treatment will need to be approved by the NJDEP. Water system that exceeds the lead action level based on the tap samples must offer to pay for lead for sampling to sample for lead in the tap of any person of the water system who requested. So anybody in the Skyview system, they can contact myself or our water department directly, and we can arrange for their home to be sampled. The samples in the homes are actually collected by the homeowners. They are provided with bottles and a detailed instructions and a chain of custody. We occasionally find that samples are collected from sinks that are not routinely used for consumption or from outdoor faucets. And the water samples should be collected from sinks, or really should be from faucets that the consumer uses to consume actual water. So under the current lead and copper rule, water systems are required to identify and use Tier 1 sites for their compliance monitoring sampling pool. Those sites are single-family structures that contain copper pipes with lead solder installed after 1982, or contain lead pipes and or served by a lead service line. So we don't have lead service lines. We do have a fair amount of homes that were built between 1982 to the present.
Just so we're clear, this was a non-nuclear service area?
Yes.
I mean, Roxbury Water Company.
Mhm.
This is just for people that get their service from Roxbury Township.
This is only for Roxbury Township, and this is, right now, this is only for Skyview. We do have two other systems, Short Hills and Evergreen. They've tested fine, there's no issue. I can get into, you know.
I just want to be clear,
Yeah.
some people start going, what's going on?
Yeah, in that public notice, they have my information, they have the info at Roxbury email, and they have the water department. So any questions that they may have can be directed to those three locations.
On that June 3rd notice, who was notified? Just people who were affected or everyone on the system?
It actually went out on NJ 101.5 FM on the radio.
The written notice is going out in a few days.
Yes.
This public education piece, which everybody has on council, Melanie's reading some pieces from that, it's not required immediately, it's required within a certain number
Within
of
10 days.
So this is more designed to get just public information, public education out to people within the system.
I just wanted to make this point clear too. Really appreciate this. So people will be getting these notices tomorrow. They went out today.
Today, by Friday, my guess is probably by Friday.
Just, if I'm oversimplifying it, please correct me, but basically the township's distribution system doesn't have any lead. Not that we're aware.
That is
The
correct.
distribution system. So what we're really telling homeowners is if they've had a high level of lead in their, tested from their home, that somewhere in their home, there's lead in the pipe or in the solder or something like that. Is that correct?
That is correct, and that's why the EPA requires us to sample between, after 1982. I guess with that, the lead is still, higher level of lead would be in the solder, higher level would be lead would be in the faucets.
Right, but I mean, my point here would be that people shouldn't be concerned about a system-wide lead problem.
Correct.
People should be concerned that their home may have a lead problem, and that's what we're gonna help people navigate how to solve that problem.
Right, so, I consider this like a life lesson, okay? So, in that, public education information, it gives you guidance as to how to reduce your exposure. Roxbury right now has an exceedance. You don't know if you're going to Hawthorne, Newark, you're going on vacation to a different city, different state. They can have a problem. You as an individual may not necessarily know that there is a problem with their water. So one of the things that is in that flyer is when people wake up in the morning, the water sits in your pipes overnight, and it has the ability of leaching lead from faucets, solder, anything else that's in that pipe. And when you wake up, before you make your coffee in the morning, you turn on the faucet. You run the water until it gets cold. You're flushing the water that has been laying dormant in your surface and in your home for the last 6, 8, 10 hours. Then you can use the water without concern. And it's something that I think people should do on, in general, regardless of where you are, on a daily basis, because you don't know if another system if you were with another water system, you don't know necessarily that they have a problem.
Yeah, and again, I think that Melanie's terminology, no offense, like this water system, it's not really the water system having a problem, it's individual locations, but also, one of the things we're gonna look at is, if there are some locations that are problematic, Melanie mentioned pH, alkalinity, we're always in parameter on that, but it's possible that we can add some other things to the water that help alleviate the potential for corrosion. This is really a corrosion, when he says it leaches out. That's what you mentioned, we're gonna look at that, and that's something we might need to do, we don't know that. That's something that we'll study, we'll analyze, DEP ultimately would approve that, we don't make that decision on our own. And you do a formal study to make that determination. One of the things I hate about these DEP notices, and I understand the reason to give them to people, consumers, I'm a customer of the water system. As Councilman DeFilippo mentioned, people get a little bit, they get nervous, they feel like there's this immediate problem that, my God, I can't drink the water. It's not like that sort of a public health crisis where you can have a Giardia or something like that when you hear on TV where people theoretically could die from drinking the water, right? Because they have a problem maybe with their water treatment plant. That's happened in different parts of the country. That's not like this. That doesn't mean it isn't important, but it's important to know if you get this notice, it isn't, why better not turn the water on? So, Melanie, as she mentioned, she's available, the water department, the health department, anybody's available to answer, questions that people might have. We certainly don't want to scare people, but on the other hand too, I think the public education is great because now people, my own family members, they're not thinking of running the water for 15 seconds in the morning. They don't think about that from a public health standpoint. They just assume it's fine. Right? What could be wrong with it? It's coming out of the pipe, it's clean. So I think what people are going to get in this information sheet is very valuable because it gives you a bunch of recommendations on how to keep with hot water versus cold water, cooking, things of that nature. So it's really good information.
Fred? Lots of good questions here, but I don't think the one question the mayor asked was answered. Are we sending out this notice to everybody in Skyview, or are we just sending it to the ones? So
Everybody.
Everybody's getting, and does it, I have to go back and read it, John. Is it saying that 80 to 90% don't have an issue? So far as tested, that,
You didn't test 100% of the houses.
No, you don't test 100%
I
of
don't
the
want to
houses.
scare people unnecessarily. is what I'm saying.
It will scare people. Yeah.
But can you say that?
But we do say how many have a problem, and it says how many have a problem, not how many don't have a problem.
Right.
You can do the math and realize how many don't. In a lot of the homes, as Melanie mentioned, we don't even test. They're not even part of the testing pool because they're of a certain age. So it's not even a representative sample of every home in the Skyview system. It's a slice of that because certain homes they know aren't a problem, so they don't even test them. I understand their goal is to test the homes that might have a problem. I'm sure they're assuming if a home does have a problem, why would we waste time testing it? But it does skew the results a little bit, and then it gets back to this notice, and I think it at least gives a little, it could give a heightened sense of fear that I always try to avoid. No one here is trying to shirk their duties or not provide information to people, but I never like to panic people. That's not a good thing to do for anybody.
In this particular case, I don't think there is a need to panic, because
There is not.
the Skyview distribution center is full,
Yes.
right? Okay.
We're double checking, but we have no reason to believe there's an issue. We're testing every source, but we don't believe there's an issue.
That is correct, so I don't have the results back. And as for mitigating the notice, like, or reducing what goes out in the notice, the DEP provides a template, and that we have to submit that template. They say, this is what you have to fill in the blanks, you have to submit it to them, they approve it, and that is what has to go out. There is no reduction.
That's why it was on the radio.
That is correct.
Yeah, also, there's plenty of places in the letter people will see where they can call to get more info. And the township, John, we've talked about, the township's prepared to answer the questions when residents call up, so,
Yes.
We're anticipating that.
Melanie pretty much handles everyone herself, because there's no one more knowledgeable than her when it comes to the water system. She handles them.
I've received 2 phone calls so far. I'm sure we'll get more, by this time next week. And we'll be prepared to answer them accordingly. There's quite a number of deliverables that we will have to provide to the DEP between now and the end of the year. The upcoming items include, we're gonna do another round of lead and copper sampling. That usually occurs like July, August, September. We try to get it while people are home, just to get the bottles back. I just want to reach out to the residents themselves if they see the minutes, and thank them very much for their participation in this, because sometimes it's difficult. You wake up in the morning, the last thing you want to do is have to deal with, taking samples and whatnot. You have a number of other things that you have to think about. And I truly appreciate all the residents that have, for years, been part of this sampling.
One last thing, the Bob's point, which is very well taken, if you actually read the bottom of the notification, it actually gives you some really good ideas as far as running the water and things of that nature.
Those are important.
So,
Anywhere. Yeah.
So I think this is one about that.
Deputy Mayor?
When we talk about the distribution, I understand from the curb valve to the houses, is owned by the public.
That is correct.
So you really can't check That's why you have to go into the house and check.
Correct, unless you want to dig up every curb valve or do a representative sample of all the curb valves. As the water department replaces curb boxes, they have been noting if it's copper, which everyone that has come back has been copper, but you know, in other towns, they're not as lucky so far. You know, sometimes it's copper galvanized or copper hex, copper HDPE. We do have HDPE in our system, but you know, but we have an inventory which we maintain, and we are required by the DEP to submit actually within a couple of weeks to the DEP for their review.
There's mention of altering the pH now, but as soon as changes the leach out of lead.
Yep.
You're going to the distribution system, correct?
We do it at each of the well houses. We have existing treatment at our 3 wells that are operating currently. We purchase bulk water from the MUA, and they treat their sources as well. And we would be looking at if we have to modify that treatment over the next couple of months, because we have to look at a lot of the chemistry past and going forward to see what, you know, maybe we may keep it the way it is, or maybe we may add something or take something away.
It's the pH out the lead, not just the leach out the lead, it's the whole
You know, there's a lot of other benefits. You know, it can help with manganese, hardness. We don't really have those problems and have not had problems like that in the Skyview system, but there's other benefits to it. But you know, for that system right now, those are specific to corrosion control.
Councilman Arell?
Just real quick, and we put this thing, I don't expect you to testify to this, but is it typical that your average filter, say refrigerator or something like that, filter out?
Yes, that is correct. If homeowners, a lot of homeowners do use refrigerator faucets, refrigerator filters, the Pures that go on top of the faucet
Just
itself.
add an extra level of comfort with those homes, because a lot of homes use.
A lot of people already do that, you know, in the Brita water filters, of course, but a lot of the newer refrigerators, I'm not too sure if there's any that do not have a water dispenser on them, but they do, they're carbon, and that would remove the lead.
Thank you. Anything else?
We'll keep everybody posted with the Water and Sewer Committee for the details. We'll keep everybody posted. I just want everybody to be aware of where we stand.
When do we anticipate the results of that well?
I believe they were collected last week, and there's usually like a 3-week turnaround time with the results.
It's the end of the month.
Yeah, so probably by the end of the month. Once I receive that information, I'll provide it to John for distribution.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melanie. All right, item 9, introduction of proposed ordinances. There are none. 10, hearing and adoption of ordinance on second reading. There are none. 11, introduction and adoption of resolutions. So I have a motion.
Mayor, may I please move 135, 157, 2025, 158, 170.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes. Go ahead.
John, the resolution for the development housing plan is to block 17, area in need of non-condemnation. What site is
I
that?
apologize. I should have added the address. That is the Roxbury Motel piece.
That's what I thought.
My mistake. Councilman Crowley asked me earlier. I didn't realize we didn't have the address and location there. Lot block. No one has those memorized. So that's the one location.
And this was just a flag to me, so I want to bring it up. Extending the lease to a cellular company on 168. I just want to be sure that our rents are current and up to date, and all of our contracts are up to date. These things tend to get lost in the question.
Everything's in order. This one's been redone recently by Bob Ostike in Tony's office. It was updated, and everything's in order when it comes to the agreement and payments.
The last thing I have is updated skating on 164 and 165.
Any other discussion? Amy, roll call.
Councilwoman Albrecht.
Yes.
Councilman Carey.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Crowley.
Yes.
Councilman DeFilippo.
Yes.
Councilman Hall.
Yes.
Councilman Riley.
Yes, except for 164,
And Mayor Patillo.
Yes. Item 12, personnel changes, there are none. 13, communications, May 30th, 2025, and June 6th, 2025. Any discussion? Comments? No? All good? All right, this brings us to our second public portion. If anybody in the public wishes to be heard on any topic, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I have a question about lighting.
Name and record, name and address for the record.
Live in Gisona, Kendall, so it doesn't even fall Kendall. But the traffic light over on 10, making a left-hand turn into Hillside Avenue on the north side. You sit through that light about 5 times. 3 cars go through.
Yeah.
The 4th car hits a yellow light and 2 run away.
Yep.
Heading westbound.
When you're heading east to
All
turn
timing is going
left.
to
It's
My
really,
favorite intersection.
it's really quick and I sit through it 5 times to come home from ShopRite McDonald's.
It's only 5 seconds.
And this is getting to be a usual thing with me, is I'm gonna stop showing up.
You're welcome, we love to see you. You're always welcome.
That's it.
I was thinking about asking if they really should retire those lights.
Yeah.
All right.
No, don't move Dill Avenue. Dill Avenue is good.
Well,
But the rest of the lights are atrocious.
it should be engineered.
I reached out to the DOT last week and asked about the phasing of returning all lights back to their original timing before the sinkhole opened on Route 80, and I was told that all of them have been returned throughout Route 10, 46, and 15.
But I think that arrow that she's mentioning, and for the people that go through there, it's only a short arrow. You don't get a lot of time, and I think it's because they're trying to move the traffic on 10. I mean, Councilman Riley, his comment, maybe it's something we should ask them to at least look at that intersection, but it's up to council. I mean, obviously, any time you're moving one of the movements, one of the other movements isn't moving, so, but it is a short arrow.
Well, that's all good information. This is very simple.
We'll ask.
It's shorter than it was before the sinkhole.
No, it's all,
It's
no.
not, don't tell me it's not. I've said it
about the
10
same.
times today.
It's been short. It was better when the sinkhole was here.
It was much better.
All right, we'll inquire.
Make it 5 seconds shorter or longer.
Make to see what you did. Mr. Kluska.
Robert Kluska, Evans Road. You may have noticed on your calendars that Saturday, I believe it was Flag Day. And just to remind you, we have our 3 bins where we collect our flags. Doing fantastic, unbelievable how those things are working. Much better than when we were collecting flags at the VFW post in Selma. And I even get some from Steve Sinise here, bringing them over on occasional bag. And you may wonder what we do with those flags. I gather them up and I put them in a great big black leaf bag, and I deliver them to a American Legion post. Not one specific one, but I have about 4 posts that I go to that I deliver to. And over the course of a year, I bet I probably deliver at least 10 of those giant bags to these posts. And some of you may not be aware what the American Legion itself does with these flags. They don't just collect them. On Flag Day, they have ceremonies. The last one I went to was in Whippany Post, and they had a stack of flags outside. It was about 3 feet deep, about 4 feet wide, and about 6 or 7 feet in depth. And they, I think they sort of mix oil and stuff with it to make sure they burn properly. But they have a fire truck there, it's fire. They have ceremonies, salute the flag, they sing the songs. A pastor will be here to say some words, and then they burn the flags. And it takes a good while for all those flags to burn. It's quite a while. And after that, some posts will actually have a bit with it, where they It's, I think Roxbury has to feel very good about our program. Every township,
Thankful to you. Yeah, that's all accredited to you.
yeah, well, every township, some townships have a VFW, I mean American Legion, so they generally do the flag collecting themselves. Those townships like ours, and there's no American Legion, I think I misspoke myself. I meant to say some townships do not have an American Legion. So, that's where the VFW steps in to collect these flags. We work hand in glove in conjunction with them. And I can't give you dates, I don't know how long this has been, but probably 100 years we've been doing this, you know? So, pat on the back for Roxbury Township.
Well, and a big pat on your back for creating that and making sure those boxes were distributed through town. So thank you, sir.
That's the confusion in Los Angeles, they think every day is one day.
Anybody else in the public wish to be heard on any topic? Seeing none, I'll close public. We have an executive? All right. Got a motion? Second? All in favor? Thank you, everybody.